We're looking everywhere, and there's still some coal mines in Europe itself, of course, which we're about to close and which are now, again, where coal is being dug, but also international suppliers. And I'm told that there's also contacts with Indonesian suppliers. This is a short-term measure. The medium to long-term goal is to close all our coal-fired power stations, and so that objective has not disappeared. On the contrary, we have, as recently as yesterday, decided to raise the renewable energy targets in order to compensate for the coal that we need to burn right now. But that's a fact. We are in a crisis situation, particularly in the upcoming European winter, from November, December onwards. Of course, people have to heat their homes, and the companies have to do their job in producing the goods we need. So right now we have to, on a temporary basis, take that sort of measure. The price of energy, of course, is a massive concern. I think it's the same in many respects as here in Indonesia. It's a simple fact that each and every household in Europe is presented with an energy bill that is 30 to 40% higher than it used to be. And you can the middle income and higher income classes can deal with that. But of course, the lower income groups have a really bad time, and which is the reason why the EU has set up a fund from which member states can draw money in order to deal with the social impact of the energy price rise caused by the war.
Back to the reactive coal-fired power plants in Europe, it looks like it contradictive with the stated of European unions about the renewables energy to reduce the net zero emissions and reducing in fossil energy in 2030. How do you see about that? How do you, in your opinion, how do you think about that?
Well, the rock hard goal remains to be carbon neutral, net zero in the year 2050. And we will get there. And we have now this emergency crisis situation we have to deal with. We will have to use coal at the time when we had thought we would be phasing it out. But we will compensate that by bringing forward a number of our other targets that will make sure that the extra CO2 we are producing now will be compensated by renewable energy and by energy saving, energy efficiency that we're building up over the next couple of years. And so our targets for 2030, which is the cutoff year for the Paris Accord, remains exactly the same. Minus 55% CO2 emissions, carbon emissions cuts to be realized. That's cast into stone, into law, so we have to do it. And secondly, carbon neutral, net zero by the year 2050. That target is there. We have no other choice, because the reality of climate change is that besides the war, we have to treat the climate crisis with equal seriousness and with equal determination.
Okay, so with the other situation, if still the war is still come up until this year or the whole year, are you still optimistic about the target, about the renewable energy or something, or that's kind of you review again to the renewables energy?
I am. We're making day by day, month by month, new steps in this area. Yesterday, the EU's ministers for environment decided to introduce the total phase out of fossil fuel cars, combustible congested cars. In the year 2035, so in that year you can't find the classical motor engine and buy it any longer. That's one. also on the side of energy efficiency, particularly in buildings, government buildings, but also private sector, office buildings and so on, new targets in order to reduce the consumption of energy, brought forward from targets in 27 to 2025 already. So we are taking concrete steps to make sure that in those cases where we have to use coal a bit longer, which is not in all member states, but in some indeed, that we can compensate for that CO2 as we go along.